What is up, guys? Welcome back. Another episode of the Fantasy Fellow Show here. My name is Kyle. Tonight, Wednesday night live, we're going to be going live for the next maybe 25, half an hour, something like that. We'll answer all of your questions. We'll look at all of the practice reports, all of the in and outs, and everything that we need to know to get you guys ready. And of course, we'll answer your questions. Let me pop into a screen share here. Hope you guys are doing well tonight. Good evening to Harris. This is a tough question. I was looking at this before the show. And Harris is asking, what should I do if no one really wants Dak Prescott? Should I just trade him away for Russell Wilson and then drop Wilson? I think the thing, if no one wants Dak Prescott, you probably should hold on to him until something happens. Or essentially what I would do, if a team needs a quarterback, you need to package Dak Prescott with somebody. But it's difficult. I wouldn't trade him away for Russell Wilson and then just drop Russell Wilson. Essentially, you might as well just drop Dak Prescott at that time. But if the Cowboys do get their offense turned around this week, good things could happen. And basically all it takes is one big, giant game from Dak Prescott, and then you should generate some market. So I know he's probably a roster clog right now, but I think at this point he's worth hanging on to. And yeah, Brandon Ayuk's a good buy low right now because Deebo Samuel not practicing today. He's got a hamstring issue going on right now. And I also think the emergence, the addition of Christian McCaffrey kind of makes things a little bit weird. But if Deebo's got a hamstring, this could last him all year. Who knows? I think buying low on Brandon Ayuk's a good idea. Pick up Jacoby Myers if I drop Russell Wilson. I like adding Jacoby Myers. He probably should be rostered. If you want to just get rid of Dak Prescott for Jacoby Myers, I'm fine with it. Like, that's a good player. And if you can't get anything for Dak, that's fine. Do I start Brady or Daniel Jones this week? Whew, that's a tough question. I'm curious what ESPN actually has ranked right now, because Daniel Jones, man, with his legs, he has been playing very good football this year. He is QB9 on the year. Tom Brady QB 12. In terms of projections, they have Daniel Jones ahead of him. It's in Seattle. Let's look at the fantasy points allowed stats here. For QB, you have the Seahawks allowing a handful amount of points here, and the Ravens also, allowing a good chunk of points here. But I think at this point, I'm not excited about the Buccaneers offense. I'm totally okay. And just the general idea of Thursday night football games right now, not exactly high scoring games that we want to get players in. And the other part of this too is let's look at the over under in this game. Baltimore, Tampa Bay, 45 total points implied in this one. The Buccaneers projected to score about 21.75. The New York Giants, about 20.75. So it's very close, both kind of low scoring games. But I'm gonna lean with Daniel Jones in the rushing upside there. We know Tom Brady can't do it, so I will lean slightly with Daniel Jones. But continue to get your questions in there, guys. I'm going to start going over some of the player news and things from today. The headliners, before we get into those, Darrell Henderson not playing with an illness, or not practicing with an illness. Ryan Tannehill not practicing with an ankle. No Marshawn Lattimore yet. For the Saints, you have Michael Thomas and Jarvis Landry both not practicing. Cam Akers not practicing. TJ Hawkinson not practicing. Noah Brown not in. Deebo was kind of a big one. And then for Thursday night football, guys, Mark Andrews not practicing Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. So I'm concerned about Mark Andrews. If you guys are waiting for him, you might want to make sure you have a backup on your speed dial there. But let's continue to read through some of these things here. Van Jefferson looks like he's going to make his season debut this week. If you play in 12-team leagues or deeper, I think he's an interesting bench stash. I'm not saying he's a league winner or anything, but he could be a nice piece of the offense to help open things up. Calvin Austin, the rookie for the Steelers, is coming back. He's closed. His season's over. Interesting. Nico Collins not practicing today. Let's see. No Adam Troutman either. Jalen Waddle limited. Good news there. Harris is asking Tyler Lockett or Rashard Bateman non-PPR. If no Mark Andrews, I will lean with Rashad Bateman. I think that's pretty clear to me. He's going to be the number one target if no Mark Andrews. But otherwise, I do like Lockett because I'm really not expecting DK Metcalf to play this weekend. So you have two good options here. But I think, of course, if Mark Andrews is out, I think you want to lean into Rashad Bateman. The Buccaneers have been kind of not so great on defense lately. They're kind of average against the wide receivers. So I just think the volume could be really nice for a guy like Rashad Bateman. Rashad Bateman, my bad. Sammy Watkins practicing today. I believe Christian Watson also practiced as well. The Lions are kind of banged up. Josh Reynolds not practicing. TJ Hawkinson not practicing. Jawan Jennings not practicing. There's Debo. So the 49ers passing group is a little banged up. That's why I kind of like Brandon Ayuk this week. I think he could be a useful player, especially if they hold out Debo. Pat Fryermuth practicing. Good news for the Steelers defense. They're getting TJ Watt back. So that's a pretty big one. Gus Edwards limited. He's going to be a low end RB2. I love Gus Edwards, but I don't really know if I love him in full PPR. He's just not going to catch passes. The Ravens, they just don't throw the ball to the running back. So Edwards is someone that's kind of really boom bust dependent on touchdowns, but he's a good player in a good situation. Good evening to Ron. So far, all advice you give me has proved successful. Just wanted to say, hey, thank you, man. I appreciate that. That's a really good comment. Thank you for sharing. And I'm glad to serve, man. That's what we like doing. We like to just look at everything and talk about it and give you guys some the best educated advice that we can find. So it always makes me happy to see when we get some things right, because occasionally we'll get some things wrong, but I'm glad it's working out for you, Ron. Thank you so much. St. Brown or Gabe Davis non-PPR? I'm going to go with Gabe Davis against the Packers. I think that could be a really nice spot for Gabe Davis. St. Brown, he's more of a PPR guy anyways. I think basically for non-PPR, I'm asking myself, who's more likely to score the touchdown? I think it's Gabe Davis at this point. You want to lean into Josh Allen in that Buffalo Bills offense. Would you accept a trade for playoff Lenny, give up Ramondre in Dynasty PPR? No, not in Dynasty. You want, Ramondre being a second-year back, Leonard Fournette being how old? 28 years old? No, you need to keep Ramondre. And I think even if this was a redraft question, Ron, I think at this point I'd rather own Ramondre than Leonard Fournette. There's been signs of evidence that Leonard Fournette is trending downwards. They like the rookie Rachaad White there. The Buccaneers offense not really playing well. I think at this point, I personally would rather own Ramondre Stevenson the rest of the season. And then for sure, Dynasty the next 3-5 years, you want Ramondre. So I would hold on to Ramondre for dear life. Debo is interesting. I think they could be really cautious with him, especially as they get Christian McCaffrey back. That means they do have a pretty valuable weapon that they can lean on in the offense. So I think it's Wednesday. It's hard to say. He could get a limited day in tomorrow or Friday, but right now he's truly questionable. And if I had to guess, they might just be cautious and let him rest this week. As we've seen, hamstrings have not been an injury you want to mess with. Look at Keenan Allen, a guy who re-injured it a couple weeks at practice, and he didn't even play a full game when he returned. So hamstrings are tricky, especially for wide receivers. You need to open it up. Devontae Adams, let me look. Illness. Okay. Even myself, I've got a little bit of a throat thing going on. I'm not feeling the greatest. So this might just be precautionary illness listed here. So I'm not too concerned about it. Indianapolis or Jacksonville. Defensively? Defensively. I'm probably going to lean with Indianapolis because one, they're at home and they're playing against Washington. Their defense has allowed the 10th fewest fantasy points per game. So they are a good defense. We like the Colts. Jacksonville allowing the 19th most here. They're pretty leaky against QBs, running backs, and wide receivers. And watching the Packers Commanders game last week, Taylor Heineke should have had maybe 3 turnovers, if not more, in that game. So I think there's opportunity for some big plays from the Colts offense there, or the Colts defense. So I'm going to lean Indianapolis, who they need to win badly. Would you pick up Jeff Wilson or Damian Williams in Dynasty? Both on waivers right now. I want to know which I should stash. The long-term value of these guys isn't very good, especially with Christian McCaffrey plugging it up for Jeff Wilson. Basically, Jeff Wilson's only going to ever have value if CMC's hurt. And with Damian Williams, you got Cordero Patterson coming back. I think in a week or two, you have the rookie Algier playing well. I think for me, I'd rather stash Jeff Wilson because the 49ers offense is just a little bit better. It's quite a bit better than the Falcons. So I'm more comfortable with Jeff Wilson. I think he's younger as well. He might have a year or two of shelf life for you. So I will say Jeff Wilson's your guy. Trade Lazard for Keenan Allen, non-PPR. See, Keenan Allen's his best format is full PPR, and I would say Allen Lazard's best format's probably non-PPR. So this is kind of a wash. This is more of a preference call. With non-PPR, I play in one non-PPR league, and the question that I ask myself every week when I'm starting my players is who's more likely to score a touchdown. With Mike Williams out for a little bit here, I think that could lean to good things for Keenan Allen. It's also a better offense right now. So I will say Keenan Allen, get yourself a Charger if you can. When do you think it's the right time for me to get into Dynasty for fantasy football? Yesterday. It's always a good time. I think maybe 2023 is a good time to get into Dynasty. You can always, if you ever want to play Dynasty, I do have, I have a website. It's called myfantasyleague.com. And I do play I play one league on here, but you can next year, 2023, when leagues open up, you can get yourself into a league here. And they do have a pretty good turnaround, and you do get paid. It's buy-ins and stuff like that. So if you're looking to get into a really dedicated dynasty league, my fantasy league could be what you're looking for. Good evening to Justin. Hope you're doing well, my man. PJ, thanks for hanging out. Start Mike Evans or Chris Olave and start Raheem Mostert or Raheem. Mike Evans or Chris Olave. Technically, both opponents for Mike Evans going against the Ravens, they're allowing a ton of fantasy points here to the wide receiver position, and the Raiders not really doing as well either. Technically, I have more confidence in Chris Olave right now. I think if that sounds weird, let me just actually compare these two. Let's look at this. So on the year, they're pretty much averaging the same amount of points per game. Mike Evans about 16, Olave about 15.6. And you look at Olave, like the last 3-4 games, he's been really, really good with Andy Dalton under center. Mike Evans, I would say he's been really good. He's just had an 8 and a 9-point game. I think you want to lean into Mike Evans on Thursday Night Football, but either way, PJ, non-PPR. So non-PPR, I don't know if you missed this, but anytime I get a non-PPR question, I'm asking myself who's more likely to score a touchdown. I'm going to go with Mike Evans in this one, so I hope that helps. But either way, Olave or Mike Evans, that's a really good problem to have. So I think you're in good shape. And yes, it's going to be a fun week for sure. I'm assuming Henderson's going to play. There's illnesses going around. Even me myself, I'm a little bit stuffed up at the moment. So I think Henderson's going to be fine. He was listed as did not practice with an illness, so we'll see. At this point, Harris, we can't start Damien Harris until further notice. The Monday Night Football game was very, very problematic for Damien Harris. Let me actually type this in: Bears, Patriots, Week 7 routes run, PFF. Let me look up the data for you. So this was terrible. I mean, you look at Ramondre Stevenson getting 40 snaps to Damien Harris's 9 snaps, 22 routes run for Stevenson, 5 for Harris, 11 carries for Stevenson, only 3 for Damien Harris. At this point, we cannot start Damien Harris until further notice. We need to see him do something on our bench before we trust him. So I will say Deonta Foreman is the easy one. And yeah, if you can't find any league, like best ball leagues are always fun to do, especially if you can do them all summer and get yourself some best ball exposure. Who would be a good trade target as an upgrade that you think I can get for Scary Terry? Got him as an added in a trade and want to see what. Okay, interesting. So I'm going to assume that this is full PPR. Let's take a look at the wide receivers available here. Let me hit clear on that. And I think McLaurin's been a top 30 wide receiver. He's wide receiver 25 on the year. So if you're looking for someone in his range, we're talking Devonta Smith. Getting into the Eagles offense is always a good idea. Potentially T. Higgins. I think buying low on Higgins, Devonta Smith. I love those two guys here. Potentially Brandon Ayuk is not a bad play either. Or Chris Olave. See if you can talk to the Olave owner and see what they're thinking. We could maybe buy low on Michael Pittman Jr., but that's probably where I would start. I'm looking at guys right in his area. Higgins, Smith, maybe Ayuk, maybe Chris Olave. Those are some of the names that stick out to me. So Mike Williams, it sounds like he's going to be out at least 4 weeks, but they have the bye this week, so the potential for 3 games that he's going to miss. So Keenan Allen's going to be a must start. I think Josh Palmer, someone that should be picked up in 12-team leagues. He could be a wide receiver 3 flex while Mike Williams is away. So it looks like 3 games for Mike Williams. And for James Robinson, I personally would not gamble starting a player that's on their first week back with a new team. They like Michael Carter. They like Ty Johnson. I purely would. I'm not comfortable with it. I want to see what this looks like first. It's a tough matchup too for the Jets offense going against New England. I know I know the Bears lit them up, but I'm Justin Fields to Zach Wilson. That's a whole different type of game. So I think I would be cautious with James Robinson. Let's see what it looks like. Let's see what his snaps and his participation and his carries look like before we trust him. Swift, Raheem Mostert or Swift. I'm probably going to go with Raheem Mostert in this one. I know Swift's coming back, but they still like using Jamal Williams. The Dolphins are expected to blow out the Lions, so you're putting yourself in the better offense. And Raheem Mostert, he's got the ability to rack up 15 to 20 touches. So I'm going to say Raheem over Swift. Yeah, Chris Olave, man, he's been a gem. The one thing I like about Mike Evans is, I mean, just looking at his numbers. I mean, 8 and 9, like he's got a pretty high floor. The dude has not scored a touchdown in 3 weeks, so he's technically due for a nice touchdown game. I wouldn't be surprised if Mike Evans has a big game on Thursday Night Football. Yeah, we're due for a good one. Carter or Raheem Mostert have PPR? Give me Raheem Mostert. Raheem Mostert? I think so. I mean, tight end is so crappy that, like, if you don't have Kelsey or Mark Andrews, I mean, we lost David Njoku for a few weeks, so like, there's only 2 tight ends that are worth a damn in fantasy football right now. Maybe Goddard's the next guy here, but at this point, I think Dalton Schultz probably going to start ranking him as a top 10 tight end the rest of the way. ETN or Ramondre. For this week, both guys are probably top 10 running backs. I'm assuming if this is non-PPR, I'm probably gonna go with Ramondre Stevenson. I like what he's doing, and I think right now I think I'm gonna say Ramondre over ETN, but it's close right now. The ESPN's got him at 14.6, ETN at 14.7. Tough defenses for both of these guys, Denver and the Jets, but I'm leaning towards Ramondre Stevenson being the guy. This one's going to be easy, Mr. Josh. It sounds like Ezekiel Elliott's not going to play. If Ezekiel Elliott does not play, you're playing Tony Pollard. Palmer or Boyd. I'm assuming this is a rest of season question. If it is rest of season, I'm going to lean with Palmer just because he's kind of he can be the number 2 target in the Chargers offense, whereas Boyd's always going to be between, he's always going to be, the 3rd target or the 4th. Like, it's going to be a little bit more inconsistent, but I think Palmer, I'd rather own Palmer over Boyd rest of year. Yeah, you could always try 2 for 1. You basically say, hey, take Terry McLaurin and then whoever like is your worst player on the bench that like you don't use. And one of my favorite things is in doing 2 for 1s, it frees up a roster spot where you can go to the waiver wire and find someone. So that's always fun for me. Don't feel like if you're gonna end up never using a guy, trade him. Get rid of him. Try and cash in for a T Higgins. Cash in for Devonta Smith. I think that's really great. Would you pick up Damian Harris and drop AJ Dillon on PPR? They're both kind of in no man's land right now. I know I was pumping up AJ Dillon all year. Just the Packers offense has just not been able to get going to allow him to get going. But I think rest of season, I'd rather own AJ Dillon still. And yeah, I appreciate it. Hit the like button, subscribe if you guys are new. It helps grow the channel. Up next, we're going to 600 subscribers, so we'll hope to be there soon. Do I like the Ravens or Bucks Thursday Night Football? That's a great question, Justin. A lot of it's surrounding the health of Mark. Like if you tell me Mark Andrews doesn't play, like that's a big deal. That's a really big deal. And Tampa Bay just has not been playing well. I saw a stat on the Buccaneers offense. Like right now, they're averaging 64.4 rushing yards per game. That would be the lowest rushing yards per game in NFL history if they were to finish like that. So the Bucks are not playing really good right now. I think I'm going to say the Ravens on the road. ETN or Ramondre. We're going Ramondre. It's really close though, PJ. I think both those running backs are top 10 running backs this week. If you have a gut feeling or a preference call for ETN, I'm cool with it. But I really like Ramondre, what he's doing right now. Alan Lazard did not practice today. I think the dude was in a sling on Monday and Tuesday. I would be surprised if he plays this week. If you have Lazard, I would try and make sure you have a backup in place because it is the Sunday night football game. If he doesn't practice tomorrow or Friday, it's not looking good. I think I would plan for no Alan Lazard. DJ Moore or Gabe Davis. Whew, it's a really, really, really good matchup for DJ Moore. You see the Falcons are allowing the most points to the wide receiver position. They've allowed the most touchdowns, the most receptions, and the most yards. So I'm going to say on the second most yards. So I'm going to say DJ Moore here. Or let me rephrase that for you. If you want to go with this, I think Gabe Davis has the wider range of outcomes, so he presents more risk. I mean, you look at what the Packers are doing. They don't allow a lot of receiver points. For as much crap as the Packers are getting, they're not allowing a lot of fantasy points. So Gabe Davis, he could get you, 3 for 40, or he could get you, 4 for 90 and 2 touchdowns. So I think his range of outcomes is greater. I think DJ Moore is a safer play. We're not trusting Harris at all going forward until we see something. So Gibson. I'm going to lean with Michael Carter. I think he's going to be the focal point of the offense. Kareem Hunt's probably in a good spot too. Actually, I'm gonna say Kareem Hunt here because we expect the Bengals to score points, which should mean more Kareem Hunt in this one. So I'm gonna lean Kareem Hunt. Carr, Russ, or Goff. Oh baby. We're gonna go with Derek Carr. The Broncos and the Lions offense are kind of hard to trust. There's at least signs of life going on for the Raiders, so we'll go with Derek Carr. Bateman or Duvernay over? Oh, definitely Bateman. You definitely want Bateman over Duvernay. This one's easy. This one's Tua all day. Tua for sure. Going up against the Lions, that's where you want to be. Geno Smith going up against the New York Giants. That's kind of a tough matchup on paper here. If I look at the quarterback points allowed here, the Giants kind of middle of the road here, only about 15.8 points per game to the quarterback position, whereas the Lions almost 20.5. So to me, it's Tua. That's a very clear Tua question for me. Let me see if I can find any more potential injury news or in and outs for you guys. How about that Robert Quinn trade for the Philadelphia Eagles? Can we just pencil them in, for the NFC Championship at this point here? Mac Jones getting the start against the Jets. We'll see how that goes. No DK Metcalf today. Raheem Mostert and Tyreek Hill, good stack this week, half PPR. Yeah. I mean, at this point, we know the Lions cannot cover anybody. They actually played well against the Cowboys offense last week, but we know the Lions are bad on defense. It should be in a game where we expect the Dolphins to roll. That could mean more Raheem Mostert in this one, and he's looking good. So I will say Raheem Mostert. And I wanted to look at, let me see, week 7. Let's see, Dolphins, Steelers, routes from PFF. So the snap counts, it's not giving me the snap counts. Let me go back here. There it is. So the snap counts for Raheem Mostert and Chase Edmonds, keep in mind, this was a tight game. Raheem Mostert still got 16 carries to Chase Edmonds' 7. The 27 routes to Edmonds' 11. 44 snaps to Edmonds' 18. It's pretty, in most questions, I'm going to lean with Raheem Mostert this week. Chris Godwin, it's not even close. Yeah, Chris Godwin to me is a top 10 receiver play. Pretty much, I think in my start sit charts, I don't put if I could put Evans and Godwin as wide receiver ones, I would. I'm only putting one player in per line, but Evans and Godwin are both top 10 plays every single week. So that's a no-brainer. See if I can find any more news for you guys. Again, Ezekiel Elliott probably not going to play this week. He's been diagnosed with a sprained MCL, and he's expected to miss week 8 against the Bears. So the Cowboys have a bye week 9. They have no reason to put Zeke out there. They have a young, exciting tailback in Tony Pollard. So Pollard's the guy this week. I think if you have Pollard, he's a must start. Try and find a way to get him in your lineups because it's looking good for Tony P. Knox or Ingram? That's a good question there, Mr. Josh. I'm assuming you have Travis Kelce on bye or something. That's That's been one of the most popular questions I've gotten all week is who do I stream at tight end for my guy, Travis Kelsey. So with Dawson Knox going up against the Packers second best against the tight end. They haven't allowed a touchdown at tight end all year. And then you have the Denver Broncos, who are kind of middle of the road. They've allowed 2 touchdowns. Technically, the easier position is for Evan Ingram. So I'm going to say Evan Ingram, who's seen a healthy amount of targets lately. I think he has a higher floor. Sure, Dawson Knox is probably more likely to score a touchdown, but I would say the chances of someone getting you 8 points, it's probably Evan Ingram that's got the better chance to right now. So I will say Ingram. Judy, Myers, or Adam Thielen, half PPR. The one I feel the safest about is Myers. I'm going to rank them as Myers, Judy, Adam Thielen. If you have a good feeling about Jerry Judy, I can see you wanting to go with him. Let me see here. The Jags, middle of the road here against the wide receiver position. The New York Jets, I don't expect Jacoby Myers to get treatment with Sauce Gardner, so he might be the guy that gets pummeled with targets. Usually the outside receivers will be guarded by Sauce Gardner, but maybe I'll change my mind. I'm going to say Judy, Myers, Thielen is how I will rank these guys. It's hard to trust Thielen, I think, right now. But we'll hang out for another couple minutes, guys. Again, we will be going live tomorrow evening. Thursday Night Live will go live at 6:30 Central Time. Hang out for another half an hour before the Thursday Night Football game. So if you guys do have more questions, the other thing too is we'll get more information on the the injuries and the practice reports tomorrow. So this is probably your last chance to potentially add Kyren Williams. I'm not saying he's a league winner. I'm not saying he's the second coming of like James White or something. But I do think if you guys for Christmas time, it's like White Elephant. Have you guys ever done a White Elephant Christmas gift? You don't know what you're getting with Kyren Williams. It could be really good. It could be just a pair of socks, or it could be a $50 gift card for something. So we could maybe get something nice in Kyren Williams. They did say that they had a plan for him week 1. He just got hurt right away. So he's worth stashing, especially if you have an IR spot right now. Hubbard, Gallup, Dubes, say Jones, Donovan. I'm going to say Donovan Peoples-Jones, but I believe Bateman's in. Bateman got a full day of practice in today. If you ask me who's more likely to play, Bateman or Mark Andrews, I'm going to say Bateman. So Bateman, I'm feeling good about him playing on the short week. So if Bateman plays, you play him. If not, I like Donovan Peoples-Jones, who the thing with DPJ, Dono, no David Njoku in this one. And you look at what he's done the last 4 games, 12, 9, 11, and 11. This is full PPR, by the way. He's been a really solid piece here. He's been a really nice player the last 4 weeks. So that's who I would go with. Can I get a Renfro status? He's limited today. Hunter Renfro, limited with the hip. Darren Waller, back with the hip. Matt Collins, back with the hip. And then Devontae Adams sat out today with the illness. So it looks like Hunter Renfro will be just fine. And he's definitely a sleeper. I'm not sure what's going to happen. We know the Rams have been they were interested in Christian McCaffrey, so that alone tells you what they're thinking. I don't think they love Darrell Henderson. He's kind of just a guy to me. He's not he's not a stud or by any means here. So for them to potentially look and see what the rookie's got, he's going to get a shot at some point, and I think. 'Tis the season, man. Like we're getting into the cold months here. November is going to be starting. Stashing running backs that could potentially, get opportunities is the way to go right now. So if you have the roster space, just grabbing some of these running backs is definitely a huge opportunity for you guys. But with any more questions here, I will answer them. Otherwise, I'm going to get out of here for tonight. Again, fun game tomorrow night. Ravens, Tampa Bay. We'll see what happens. I'm thinking the Ravens are going to continue to do what we've seen against Tampa Bay. So we will see. And another good one there. And Harris, I covered this every Wednesday when I get home from work. I do my Week 8 fantasy preview live, or not live. I make the video, I upload it, and then we get ready for this show. But in this video, I covered the Buffalo Bills. And on Sunday Night Football, if we see so of course you have Stephon Diggs, you have Gabe Davis, but after that, there's an opportunity here for Khalil Shakir to overtake Isaiah McKenzie as the number 3 receiver on this team. He's looked good in limited time, and on Sunday Night Football, if we start to see Shakir make more plays, like we're going to be talking about him on the waiver wire next week. So I will say this: if you have room on the end of your bench, and you don't need the guy, pick up Khalil Shakir, because if he catches a touchdown on Sunday Night Football, like, we're going to be looking at him on the waiver wire. So it's definitely something I'm intrigued with. Brady or Dak? I'm gonna go with Dak Prescott. I know it's a tougher matchup against the Bears, but it's at home with Tom Brady. We haven't really seen a lot of goodness out of Tom Brady in the Bucs offense. So I'm a little bit nervous about it. And the other thing too is Thursday Night Football. The product has not been good all season. Like, name one good Thursday Night Football game all year where we're like, oh wow, like this was a fun. I guess the Chargers Chiefs game way back in week 2, but even that was kind of a low scoring game. So I think the points are low tomorrow night. I'm going to lean with Dak Prescott at home against the Bears. But this was fun. I'm going to get out of here for tonight, guys. Thank you so much for your time. Again, like the video, subscribe if you are new. Check out the TikTok and thefantasyfellowship.com. And thank you guys so much for your time. Again, I appreciate it. Have a good rest of your night. We'll see you tomorrow. Peace.